Hello my chronically awesome friends, I'm Styna and welcome back to Sick, Tired and Alone, the YouTube channel about dealing with chronic illness alone, which is only half as depressing as it sounds. It's nearing the end of October, which means a couple things. One, it's almost Halloween, which is very exciting to me personally because I love Halloween. It's my absolute favorite, of course. And two, it's almost November. For a lot of people, November just means Thanksgiving, probably. But for many people, myself included, November also means NaNoWriMo, which stands for National Novel Writing Month, although it is international. Throughout the month of November, people all over the world take on the challenge to write 50,000 words in 1 month. I've participated in NaNoWriMo for 3 years, I think. Sounds right. So I am here to share with you some of the tips I've picked up along the way for surviving NaNoWriMo while being chronically ill. My first tip has to do with meal plans. Last year I actually prepped about half a month's worth of meals the day before NaNoWriMo and then prepped the second half of the month, halfway through. That did seem to alleviate a lot of stress, and it also stopped me from making those trips to the fridge, just sort of looking to see if there's anything new in there in the last 5 minutes, which is really just a way for me to procrastinate writing. If you can meal prep, it is a good thing to do for NaNoWriMo. My next tip is to get everything you need beforehand if you can. That means any supplies you might need for the month, not just writing supplies, but if you can refill your prescriptions and stock up on your medical necessities and just the things that you need in general, laundry detergent and food, obviously, if you need things for your animals, anything that you foresee needing to buy throughout the month, get it ahead of time if you can, just to be a little bit more prepared, because any time that you don't have to spend out at the shops is time that you could spend writing. My next tip is to set timers for your meds and self-care. If you're anything like me, when I really get into writing, I kind of lose track of the outside world, and I have been known to sit there writing for 12 hours at a time and not do anything else, including eating and drinking and taking my medications. If you're concerned about maybe not taking your meds or something, set timers just to pull yourself out of writing, which a lot of people will say, don't pull yourself out of writing. If you can, just keep writing, but you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. That is the most important thing all the time, always, but also during NaNoWriMo. My next tip is to take time for self-care. If you're anything like me, writing can sometimes stress you out. I definitely get worked up over certain things that are happening in my story while I'm writing them. When I had to kill off one of my characters in my second book, I was a wreck, and it affected me emotionally and physically. I didn't take very good care of myself for a little while. Definitely make sure that you make time for self-care. Not just typical hygiene stuff like showering and brushing your teeth and everything, but if you need time to chill out and relax from whatever's happening in your story, or maybe something's going on in life, because life does continue on during NaNoWriMo, it is okay to take a break and relax and just let yourself calm down. You know your body better than anyone else, and it's important that you take care of yourself and don't push yourself, because if you burn out, you're probably going to be more angry at yourself for that than if you fall a little bit behind. My next tip, which is a good tip in general, but is also very important during NaNoWriMo, is to please stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is a thing I struggle with anyway, because yay, dysautonomia! When you're focusing so much on something like writing, it can be easy to forget to stay hydrated. Like I said, setting timers helps. I always keep a bottle of Gatorade next to me at all times, always anyway. And so while I'm writing, I try to just make a point of every time I look at the bottle, I take a drink. But staying hydrated is very important. Going back to self-care. A lot of these are revolving around self-care. Please take care of yourselves during NaNoWriMo and also all the other times. My next tip is for those of us who have some issues with our wrist shoes. Nope, it did not work as well as it seemed like it was going to when it was coming out of my mouth. I get really bad carpal tunnel, especially when I'm writing consistently for long periods of time. And I picked up a couple of wrist braces just from the Dollar Tree, and I just use those every time I'm writing, not just if I'm having issues with my carpal tunnel. It does seem to help, But if you have wrist issues, please take the necessary precautions. If you use like a support while you're typing, or if you have to sit at a certain angle when you're typing, whatever you need to do, please do it, because these guys, you're gonna need them for the whole month, unless you do talk to text, in which case, oh, fuck those wrists up, man. Please don't fuck your wrists up. But if typing or writing by hand isn't something that you do, then this one's not for you. My next tip is a two-parter. The first part is to set daily goals for yourself. There is a word goal set on the NaNoWriMo site, which is the baseline of how many words you're supposed to write in a day to keep you on track to hit 50,000 words by the end of the month. Some people write more a day, some people write less. Some people try to stagger it, so they'll write a bunch one day and not so much the next day, or if you're compensating for days that you know you won't be able to write, like if you're gonna be out of town or working or whatever. I try to get a lot of it out the first few days. Last year I wrote 10,000 words the first day, and I was surprised at myself, to be honest. But I know that in the beginning of the month I'm going to start to fade a little bit, and then towards the end of the month I'll pick back up. My battery died, so I had to wait for that to charge, and it got cold, so now I'm wearing a sweater, and also my eyelashes are falling off. What are you gonna do? I don't remember what I was saying. Let me just check my notes here. Setting goals. Basically, you probably know what works best for you as a writer, so set goals that are more reasonable for you. And the second part of that tip is to reward yourself for meeting certain goals. I tend to set rewards for when I reach 500 words each day, 1,000 words, 2,000 words, and then I also set mile marker goals, so when I reach 5,000 words, when I reach 10,000 words, and the rewards obviously tend to be better for the higher goals. If you'd like a video on ideas for rewards that you can set for your goals, let me know in the comments below and I will make one of those. Another tip that I usually try to follow, because if I don't follow it then I fail epically, is to limit your time on social media. I have a habit of going on Tumblr and then, you know, just losing pretty much my entire life. So I usually end up using time on social media as a reward for when I reach certain goals. I'll typically allow myself like an hour at the beginning of the day and an hour at the end of the day on social media, because I have a lot of shit to catch up on. But then in between those times, I will limit my social media to, if I reach 500 words, then I'll get 15 minutes on social media. And then every 500 words, 15 more minutes. And sometimes I will use it each 500 words. Sometimes I'll let it build up so I have like an extra hour later on social media, something like that. But if you're like me and easily fall into the never-ending pit, social media, it's a good idea to try to limit your time while you're actually writing. A lot of these obviously could be tips just in general to use for NaNoWriMo. They're not necessarily chronic illness related. One of them that I do find helps me a lot, chronic illness wise, is to use disposable cutlery and plates. I don't have a dishwasher, so doing dishes is one of the things that takes up a lot of energy for me and will wear me down very quickly. While I don't like using disposable stuff because, you know, the planet, it does definitely make it a lot easier throughout the month of November. It's one less thing to worry about, one less thing to focus on, one less thing to spend energy on. Another tip is to try and get the people in your life on board with your game plan. I am already pretty reclusive. My friends and family know this, and the people in my life now also understand how difficult it can be for me to actually go do things, so they're not terribly judgmental about that, and they don't usually push me too hard if I say that I'm not up to doing something. But then for the month of November, I usually put like a disclaimer on Facebook where I know the people from real life will see it. Just explain NaNoWriMo's coming up, and a lot of my friends on Facebook participate in NaNoWriMo too, so they totally get it. For the people who aren't participating or maybe don't know what it is, I'll usually just make a post about how I'm going to be even more reclusive throughout the month of November. And I think my general template now is, if you try to fuck with my writing schedule, I'll stab you in the face with a spork. I don't generally condone violence, but I guess I have a thing for threatening to stab people in the face with a spork that goes back to high school. I don't really remember how it started, but that's a thing. But I just try to get them on board, and I ask that, you know, if they do invite me out to do something or want to hang out or something like that, that they respect my goals, and that if I haven't reached my word goal or if I'm not on track for the day, that I'm simply not going to make plans. And I generally don't make plans for the entire month of November. We've got Thanksgiving, and that's about the only set in stone plan that I ever roll with for November. Other than that, you know, I basically tell people I'm not doing shit, I'm writing. And related to that, let yourself say no to plans. If you want to be writing, don't feel guilty for saying no. And that also goes for chronic illness in general. If you're not up to doing something, you shouldn't feel obligated to do it and go against what your body needs. I think that's a thing a lot of us struggle with, and I still struggle with it, is feeling guilty for, you know, not doing something, not going out, not seeing friends, not being able to go to family events. That is definitely one of my tips, is to let yourself say no to plans. Another tip that I cannot stress enough is to back up your work. You cannot back up your work too much. You can back up your work, not enough. And I know this from experience, and it is probably the most stressful thing that can happen writing-wise during NaNoWriMo, or pretty much ever. You have your manuscript going, and maybe you're halfway through, or you know, you just got done on this awesome chapter and it was perfect, and then you come back the next day and oh my god, it's gone. Where did it go? I don't know. Oh fuck. During my first year, I only saved things to the cloud because I figured if my laptop goes, which it has done before, then at least I'll be able to access my manuscript from somewhere else. I did not realize that my cloud wasn't updating. It's set to save automatically every so often, and for some reason it wasn't syncing. So I went back one day to open my file, and I had lost like pages of my manuscript, and I never got them back. So I started saving to the cloud and to my computer, which seems like it should be enough, right? No, it's not, apparently, because at some point it didn't sync to the cloud and the file got corrupted. So when I opened it up, it was just a whole bunch of little symbols and shit that didn't mean anything. And I'm pretty sure I died for like 3 minutes. So now I save to the cloud, and I save to a file on my computer, and I save to a flash drive. And it seems excessive, but it has come in handy multiple times throughout not just NaNoWriMo, but writing in general. That's how I save everything all the time, always. And it is kind of a process every time you want to save, but it's definitely worth it. And like I said, you cannot back up your work too much. My next tip is to write in the way that works for you, which I think I've mentioned, but hey, this video is cut in half, so who knows. I did talk about it a little bit in my writing with chronic illnesses video, which I will link to here. I don't know. I've made how many videos now, and I still don't know. It's up here somewhere, or also in the description below, because I might not be able to make cards anymore because they changed that views thing, so it'll definitely be in the description. But I mentioned in my writing with chronic illnesses video that, you know, there's no one correct way to write, no right way to write. The thing that I hear most consistently, especially for NaNoWriMo, is to just get out as many words as you can, just reach the word goal, just vomit the words onto the page, whatever you have to do, get the words out. It doesn't matter if they're good, just do it. I've used that method during NaNoWriMo, and it really doesn't work for me because I ended up scrapping most of the words in December, and it didn't feel worth it to me because I was still stressing about getting the words down and stuff, and then I ended up not using them. So now the way I write is the way that I usually write, just more, which is to say I edit as I write, and that is one of the things that people will tell you not to do during NaNoWriMo, but if that's the way that you feel most comfortable writing, do it. Because it's honestly really disheartening to get to the end of the month and look over, you know, the 50,000 words or however many words you wrote and know that you're not going to be using most or any of them. It makes it seem like a waste of an entire month, at least in my opinion. And I know a large portion of NaNoWriMo is basically to get yourself in the habit of writing every day, to get yourself into healthy writing habits. But for me, personally, by the end of the month, I want to have words that I am proud of and that I am going to put towards something, because I am writing a book that is going to be published. If I'm scrapping all of the words that I wrote, then, you know, that's not working towards my goal. So I think it's really important that you do write in the way that works for you. If someone tells you it's wrong, fuck them. Another important tip is that you do not have to write in order. If you are comfortable writing out of order, there is no reason that you have to write a manuscript from beginning to end. And I know a lot of writers don't. I personally have never written an entire book from beginning to end. I write whatever I know is going to happen while it's in my mind. I usually end up writing 3 or 4 chapters of the beginning, and then I figure out a general idea of what the ending is going to be, usually while in the shower. So then I write the ending chapter, and then if I have ideas for chapters in between, if there are big events that I know are going to happen in the book, I'll write those, and then it's just a matter of connecting all the things. So if you get to a point in your manuscript and you feel like you're stuck at that specific place, but you know something else is going to happen, absolutely go and write the thing that you know. You're still working towards your word count, it's still going to be in the story probably, and fleshing out that idea might also help give you more ideas on how to get from the part that you've written to the part that you've written. My next tip is to have a general game plan. If outlining works for you, absolutely do that. It doesn't work for me super well. I will usually make an outline and stick to it, sort of. It usually helps me along for the first few chapters, and then it's just, you know. But if outlining does work for you, definitely do that. You know, outline in as much detail as you possibly can if that's a thing that works for you. If it's not, have an idea of where you want to be in the story by what day of the month. Any sort of game plan that you can set up that works for you or that might work for you, do it. Another tip is to always have something to write with. If you go to doctor's appointments a lot, if you go to the hospital, always have something to write with, because wait times at those places can be absolutely ridiculous, and it is a good time to write. Last year during NaNoWriMo, I ended up in the ER and I was waiting there for 7 hours and my phone was dead and I didn't have anything to write with. So always have something to write with. The most important tip I think I could probably give you is to not be too hard on yourself if you don't reach your goals by the end of November. It's not the end of the world if you don't hit your word count, if you don't end up with a finished manuscript. It doesn't mean that everything that you did accomplish during November has to be scrapped. You can just keep writing after November. You can keep working on your manuscript. You're not a failure just because you didn't reach the 50,000 word goal or what have you, whatever goals you set. It's okay. We already have a lot of shit to stress over with chronic illnesses. NaNoWriMo is meant to be a fun thing, a fun challenge, and definitely don't work yourself up over it. Do what you can do what works for you, do what's comfortable, and try to have fun. And by the end of the month, maybe you'll have some words that you wouldn't have otherwise had. If you have more tips for surviving NaNoWriMo with a chronic illness or just in general, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you would like to see more videos like this and also videos not like this, please consider supporting my Patreon page. Feel free to follow me on all the things. I will probably be posting more NaNoWriMo content on my Tumblr very soon and also throughout the month of November. Thank you for watching, my chronically awesome friends. I will see you all next time, but until then and always, take care. I look fancy up here, but I've got on yoga pants and fuzzy slippers, and I will fight you. Take off these freaking eyelashes since they're already half off. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I can see. Ooh, buddy. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. This septum ring is fake. I still got my real one in, but it's so much effort to change out a septum ring. I figured I'd just get one of those fancy ones for $1 from eBay. And boop. Virtually no spoons used. Hi, Bigby. Hello. But I need to film a video, so if you could not stomp around Your big old hellhound feet. That'd be nice. Lay down. Stay. Good boy. But for many people, lay down. Stay. And you move the camera. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. I knew filming down here wouldn't work out. You can't act right. You just can't act right. The main goal is writing 50,000 words between November 1st and November 35th. Are there 30 days or 31 days? I don't remember. From the beginning to the end of November, writing 50,000 words. Take this shit down. Oh yeah, feels good. Feels good. Oh, ow. Oh. I forgot I had bobby pins in my hair. Are there more? There are more. How many bobby pins do I have in here? Shit. Oh, that feels so much better. Oh, now I'm dizzy. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good look. That's a good look right there. Classy as fuck. It's gonna be all crimpy when I take it out. Oh, no. That was disappointing.